like to call this meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Derek? Derek, you want to go introduce yourself to Judy Wellman? Oh. Please. All right. Andy will not be here. He's on his way back from Chicago. So we'll go ahead and do the roll, Mr. Chair, or Mr. Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Lorenzen.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
Shiddick.
Here.
Ludington.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
And Boyd.
Yes, present. All right. As soon as I find my agenda, we'll be all set
Can I
here.
borrow mine?
Nope, I got it. I just got covered up there at the very end. Okay, roll call's been called and we do have a quorum. So we'll go on to claims against the county. Do you want to explain some things, Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, at your seat, you have two financial reports. One is a revised committee code report that I give you every month. And then the other one is a invoice. No, what is it? It's a batch listing.
Yes.
And
batch listing.
so what we had to do yesterday, we had to reopen the accounting package, if you will, and because we had several checks that needed to be cut, bills to be paid by the end of our fiscal year. And so yesterday was the day. So we reopened it up, and the two-page report, which is the batch listing, those are the additional bills that were paid yesterday in addition to what you received Monday morning in your study session. Is that clear?
Yeah.
We had to pay some more bills. You got an extra report. So what I did was I combined them and ran you a current up-to-date master report, if you will. So
It added $120,000, of which all but I think 20 grand was for insurance payments to bind insurance through starting December 1st, okay? Which we'll discuss here later on down the agenda, okay?
yeah, thank you. Insurance, sheriff, public health,
Maybe one from Monty.
and
Yes,
yeah,
but for the most part.
I had a few. So
Okay. Further clarifications or
I
questions,
do have
John?
one question, Augie, and I assume on the third page of the committee report, there's all the refunds of overpayment. Does that go back to the taxation on the drainage district where we had to change things around?
that is what I don't have a good answer. I don't know.
Okay.
That's what I think it is. Without, I haven't even looked at it.
Just looking at the names, I'm assuming that's the issue,
Okay.
but
All those claims that you don't have
That-
to do for
yeah.
the levy.
Okay. Yes. Then it. Yes. Now it clicks. Yes, it would be.
okay.
Dawn administers all of that, and I just hadn't looked at that part of it. Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Other questions or clarifications? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented.
So moved.
Derek moves, Phil seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Next, we have public comment. We ask that in our policy is to allow 5 minutes. We'd like you to identify yourself and restrict your comments to 5 minutes. So, the podium is open. If you would like to address the board, we would be happy to hear from whoever would like.
Good morning. My name is Frida Hickson. I live here in Paris, Illinois, on 920 Cherry Point Street. I'm the former executive director of the Edgar County Housing Authority. I I was unexpectedly let go last week and replaced by John Hollis, who was the director before me. I'm here to bring to your attention some of the unethical and wrongness that is going on with the Edgar County Housing Board members. I feel some of the board members have violated the Open Meetings Act several times, on several occasions discussing matters outside of the regular board meetings, not following the agenda, getting off track on other topics not listed on the agenda. Double standards, what was okay with the board for what Mr. Hollis did previously as executive director is not okay for me to do. It was stated from a board member, the good old boys club. The board member's role of Edgar County Housing Authority is evidence and accountability of the Housing Authority to make sure it's up to HUD standards. I passed out in your possession there a few items you can look at. The role of the executive director is management, manage the day-to-day operations of the Housing Authority. The director hires, evaluates, trains, and terminates staff. I said you have a quick reference, and that was sent down by HUD. Under John Hollis, Edgar County Housing Authority was listed by HUD as trouble and substandard. Before the HUD review team came down to Paris, John Hollis retired. This letter stating that is included. I became the executive director and turned the housing around to a high standard housing. And now the Edgar County Housing Board has put John Hollis back into the executive director position. John Hollis didn't retire as he stated in his letter. He made a position for himself and his pay, and the Edgar County Housing Board approved this. The board cannot hire employees, just the executive director. Edgar County Housing Authority has put personal interest and gains for some employees over the good of the Housing Authority. Conflict of interest between some board members with employees and board members working with an employee's spouse has left board members not listening to me or being open-minded about that employee. A board member during a regular board meeting reached across to another board member and pointed his finger in my face. I felt it was threatening gesture and was trying to intimidate me. The same board member was talking over the Housing Authority attorney. The attorney was trying to explain a topic that was on the agenda. A board member called and demanded that I do something concerning an employee about holiday pay that wasn't even here yet. And yes, the word demanded was said to me several times and was overheard by office employees. They were shocked by this. This board member works with that employee's wife. These actions are not appropriate for Edgar County Housing Authority board member. I know the county board appointed the Edgar County Housing Board members, and I want to make you aware of what's going on. There's a lot more to be told, and I'd be happy to go into closed session to give you more details from the beginning to the end. The saying, what is right, and what is wrong. I feel this is a serious matter and one that you should take a closer look at. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is the exact authority of the county board with this, with the,
We appoint board members.
They appoint them,
okay,
You appoint all the board members?
yes.
okay.
How many board members are on the?
We have 5. One is a resident, but they also are appointed. There has to be a resident.
David Wright is the chairman.
Correct.
That
How long
works
is the
over at
term?
our
The
assessment.
term is 5 years. David Wright has been on there for over 30 years, I believe.
Are the terms staggered or do they all,
These are continuous with him,
okay,
but it should be,
staggered?
yes.
And who is the housing authority attorney? You mentioned.
Rob Anderson,
Okay.
So you're saying that John retired and then you were appointed by the board?
correct.
And how long ago was this?
2 years. I've been here 2 years.
And then you came back.
Yes. And he was working part-time as a maintenance employee. Like I said, he created his own position, created his own pay. And the board approved him doing that,
So just recently they terminated your position?
just last week.
Did he give reasons?
The reason is you're doing a good job,
Okay.
but it just kind of goes into a few employees that's closely friends, and they work with the employee's wife, and it's just personnel.
But legally, they'd have to have reasons for termination, just not because we don't like
Mr.
them.
Goodwin made the comment, he doesn't have to tell me,
No.
but since I've been there, he said that to me.
Not right.
Who is on the board?
David Wright is the chairman,
Who-
David Neal is the vice chairman, Jeff Goodwin, Betty McCoskey, and
Kowski?
Makowski,
Kowski.
and the resident Shirley Mullen, who was absent the day this took place.
Would it be fair to say that we'll look into it and then get back to you?
That would
I think that's what would be appropriate at this point. And then if we need clarification or need to meet with you, we will advise you, okay?
sounds good.
Thank you for,
How can we contact you?
I can give you my phone number or,
On
Can
the
you-
right today? Right now, on a piece of paper, so you can announce it to the world.
yeah,
Put it in receivables instead of.
You can't use the train excuse, Derek.
thank you, sir.
Traffic?
I didn't mean to upset you, but
There's a drift of leaves.
No.
thank you. Any further questions before we leave that public comment? Yeah, you're certainly welcome to stay if you would like. Ms. Hickson, so. And I did have Augie look into the facts of appointments, and he assures me that we do appoint all of them. I don't know what the terms are at this point, but.
They're staggered.
They're staggered?
Yeah.
So, I remember when we appointed the resident, which was what, in the spring? So, we have done one this year, so. All right, are there any other public comments, please? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, I'm Jeannie Langster. I'm also a former employee of the Housing Authority. I just want to let you know, I've known Frida for 30-plus years. There's been nobody I've ever known that is so dedicated and committed to the quality of job that she has done. When I first came there in the spring of 18, she informed me of the goals and the improvements she wanted to make to all the locations to make it better for the residents and get the occupancy percent up. Since I've been there, it seems like it's been an uphill battle for her to get these things achieved. I feel all she wants are her employees to do their jobs efficiently as any boss would. I've also felt I could go to her with any questions that I may have and she would solve them. I feel the board has bullied Frida and tied her hands of doing her day-to-day duties as executive director. It is my understanding the board is to be replaced every 5 years with new board members. How a board member that has not been at a meeting for 3 months be allowed to vote? And she wasn't a bit surprised. On one of the board meetings, I heard them discussing an employee for the majority of that meeting, which was not even on the agenda to be discussed. I feel these are day-to-day duties as an executive director, and the board needs to keep their attention on their duties. She has taken it from a troubled housing to a high-standard housing with 100% occupancy for the last 7 months. I'm just in awe that a board would get rid of a director like this. In the end, she's doing a great job on her end of the work scale and expects everyone else to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of that individual?
No, I left.
Okay,
I left.
just recently?
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah. This upset me,
Okay.
so I left.
Okay.
Did you want to come forward, ma'am?
Yes, I would like to.
That's your pleasure, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Judy Brush. I reside at 615 Andrew Street in Paris, Illinois. I too am a former employee of Edgar County Housing Authority. Like Jeannie Langster, I was disturbed and upset by everything that happened, and that's my reason for leaving. At my time of employment there, I've seen many changes. Most of these changes were due to the caring and workforce that was dedicated to Frida Hickson. During this time, I've seen, again, it's gone from a troubled housing to a high standard housing under her direction. Before her being executive director, the employees were not held accountable for their positions. The executive director at the time and the maintenance supervisor didn't try to fix issues that were reported from our HUD inspector. When Frida came in, she started working on occupancy, and over the last 2 years has filled those apartments and has held them at 100% for the last 7 months. Previously, it had been 6 years and plus that it had been at 100%. In all the facilities, she has gone above and beyond. The Edgar County Housing to make a better place for people to live. She has worked at cleaning up the Highland Court apartments to give it a better name and make it a better place for families that want to live there. Frida has worked on marketing for Edgar County Housing to bring people in, which also brings in more revenue for the county by bringing up occupancy. This also helps us get more funding to do more improvements. Frida has had resistance from the maintenance supervisor to get projects completed that she felt were important or HUD related. At the time she took over maintenance was at a very low score from HUD, and no attempt was being made to fix the things HUD was reporting poor scores on. Frida's had issues with underperforming employees, and those people worked with board members to get her dismissed. As executive director of Edgar County Housing, Frida's job description states she is to do hiring, firing, supervising employees, and all financial duties, among other things. The Edgar County Housing Board of Directors has bullied her and demanded she do things that were not part of their responsibilities. They are in place to oversee the financial duties and approve bills being paid, etc. In my opinion, they have discriminated against Frida. They have not cared about the tenants, which is the sole purpose of the Edgar County Housing Authority. Immediately after the dismissal, the tenants who attended the board meeting went back and started a petition to have her reinstated. Tenants have also been making phone calls to HUD in hopes of reinstatement. Some even spoke at the board meeting. Many of the residents were there when John Hollis was executive director before. Upon finding out he was being appointed interim director, the tenants were furious. The building was in an uproar. Tenants were crying and carrying on. They were angry because they love Frida and know how much she cared about her job and the upkeep of the Edgar County Housing. Many commented how wonderful the building was looking due to improvements she has done. Many also commented that John Hollis never tried to do anything to fix them. For Frida always listens to the tenants, often strolled the halls, speaking with the tenants. Frida has done nothing but her job and asked only employees do the same. I feel she was wrongly dismissed, and this was done with absolutely no warning. I think the board has conspired against Frida, and that privately, which is against rules. I also think some board members have a conflict of interest, and possibly one of the board is interested in the Edgar County Housing Director position. I hope you will investigate this matter and reinstate Frida and investigate the board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions,
Yeah, I've got a
Derek?
couple. So, I've heard mentioned a couple times the troubled to high standard. That's an official rating of some sort, or
It is.
via HUD?
It's on your last page, I think, of theirs.
I kind of looked for it, I missed it, so, okay. And then you mentioned the maintenance director, who is John Hollis, is that correct?
No, he was the executive director previously. They have appointed him as interim until,
What was his position that he made for himself? Did it have?
as a maintenance employee.
This isn't a maintenance employee. Was he directing maintenance in that?
No, he was
role?
not.
Okay.
Did you do it?
Who's the maintenance supervisor?
Kevin, newcomer. Kevin John's friends.
Dan?
Is this only the high rise, or is it like the other apartments also?
This is everything.
It's like the ones
overacre.
across from the hospital too, those included?
That's Maple Ridge.
Okay,
So that's,
right. The high rise and the one next to it.
in Kansas, we have
So you
apartments.
got three, High Rise, Highland Court, John Street Apartments.
And we also have the Water Street. There's actually 4 locations.
Okay.
There's 200 apartments.
I know Franklin Dick, I used to pick him up all the time. I drive
Yes.
Faith in Action.
Yeah.
There's always, the place is always nice and clean and everything, and I picked him up.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anything, board, have I adequately represented that we want to take a look at this, and we'll appropriately contact you upon any need of additional information, and we'll do the best we can. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Any other public comments, please? Okay. Did you want to comment, ma'am?
Oh, I was going to make comments, but I think they covered everything quite well. My name is Gail Daly. I live at 202 East Madison Street, and I have seen the improvements out there. I even volunteer to go out and help do some of the flowers, because I like doing flowers. And it's just, the place has turned around considerably. I would not be ashamed to live there. And I couldn't say that beforehand.
Well, thank you for your comments, ma'am. We appreciate
I
it.
have one more question before you leave. What was the time frame on all of this? I assume fairly recently.
This was just last week. It was
Okay.
November 21st was my last day of work.
Okay.
And when was the actual board meeting
Board
where
meeting was
this,
the 20th.
and was your dismissal on the agenda?
It was the status of the executive director. They called a week before and requested that would be put on there. I said, is there something in particular they want to know about my progress? I wasn't sure what they were referring to. So I guess that was their way to get it in.
Did you have a written contract?
I did not, John did not. I didn't even know there was one.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to collect information that we
Afterwards,
would.
I've been hearing people say that, and I thought, it was never said to me that, or the board said I should have one. I just felt like I was out there.
No, and it's not a negative question either way. I just simply wanted to know in case people on the board would like to know that. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions before we leave this? Okay. Thanks again. Okay, the next, was there any other public comment on anything, on another subject or anything else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move along to the resolution to adopt budget and levy for fiscal year beginning December 1st, 2019 and ending November 30th, 2020. We have had this document on display as required by law. That was legally placed on display at our first meeting of the month. So now it is in order for a motion to approve this resolution. And then we'll discuss.
So moved.
Derek moves. John seconds. Okay, it has been moved to approve the resolution. Is there discussion on this resolution or on the contents? We've had several opportunities to discuss the adoption of the budget and levy. Are there further questions on it? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk?
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Farnham,
Yes.
Chittick,
Yes.
Ludington,
Yes.
and Bruner.
Yes.
It is adopted. Next, we have a resolution to renew alcohol license number 1 for Andrew Z. Patrick, effective December 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2020. We have received the check, appropriate check for this. So is there a motion to approve this?
He's not here to threaten us with his
Dan
gaze.
moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Derek seconds. Would you please call the roll?
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
and Bruner.
Yes.
Okay, next resolution to renew alcohol wine, liquor winery license number 1 for Andrew Z. Patrick, effective December 1st, 2019, through November 30th, 2020. Again, we have received the appropriate check for this. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Derek moves, Dan seconds. Further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
It is approved. Next is a resolution to renew alcohol liquor winery license number 2 for Robert E. Morgan, doing business as Castle Finn Vineyard and Winery, Inc., effective December 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2020. Again, we have received the appropriate fees. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Derek moves.
Second.
John seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk?
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Chittick,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
It is approved. Next, we have, did you have something?
No, I just put this paper.
Oh, okay, I thought maybe. Approval of Cincinnati Insurance as provider for property casualty and liability insurance for the Edgar County Jail Building, December 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2020. The amount of that is $65.87. That is the entire year's worth. I put it on the agenda because we had not approved Cincinnati, we had approved the other one. So we had approved Illinois County's risk management for their approval. So in order to keep everything clean, we wanted the board's approval on that, and then we'll be taking the checks and so forth over later this morning, so everything is bound and in force. Do I hear a motion to approve them?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I think I asked Monday, but what's the, again, the out-of-pocket deductible?
For buildings, $5 grand.
Okay, good.
That's for 5, not for liability. And
No, they, like we have a lawsuit or something?
That's 25
Okay.
on related, sheriff related.
Well, it's 50 on the other one, right?
While we're
No.
discussing, Jeff, can you just give a quick lowdown on why this particular, I assume it's just logistics within the insurance companies?
Yeah, the Illinois County's risk management would only cover the new portion of the jail without covering the old portion. So it'd be a mess. If a fire started, God forbid, in the back part or in the old jail built in the 1800s, they would not cover that.
Got it.
So we reached out for another company that would cover that building in its entirety, and that was subtracted out of Illinois County's risk management.
And this is a little off topic, but the monies that were offered by our existing insurance company as it pertained to improvements or work towards the jail, that all went out and we had an assessment done, right? And
Right.
even with that done, they didn't agree to.
That's correct. Okay? We, however, will be submitting a bill for that, and they have said that they will still pay the $4,500 that we spent, which I don't think was a waste, because we found out things that we needed to find out, okay? And we did find out, as a matter of fact, that the buildings are in pretty good shape and very durable. Right, Carl?
Correct, and that's why I don't understand why the other insurance company rejected it. Yeah. And they never gave me a good explanation either.
No, they haven't to me either. Yes, John?
And we are confident that the two policies mesh and they aren't leaving any holes and we don't have any real significant overlap that we're throwing money away on.
We're good.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's covering the buildings and the contents in the building.
Right, well, and I have
other
seen the
companies,
list, yeah, but
Yeah,
If somebody-
that list is just
Yeah.
That's not covering any of the contents, you know, like the radio equipment or anything inside the jail, inside, in the facility.
Okay.
Okay,
That's covered by Cincinnati.
further questions?
So, just so I'm clear, everything on that property will now be covered by Cincinnati?
Yes,
I understand. the liability
Inside the
issues.
building.
inside the building, well,
The
the
total
building.
structure,
The total
along
structure.
with the
Contents.
contents.
Correct.
Correct. And if somebody falls on the front steps, that's covered. Now, decisions made in the building are covered by the other company,
Got it.
okay? If that helps. Motion to approve,
So moved.
and that's Derek, and then Carl seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next, need a motion, well, first of all, let me tell you that we received a letter from the Bureau of Environmental Programs, and it says, "Dear Chairman, please be advised that on November 18th, the department received a letter from Mr. Jake Nims of West Engineering Associates, Inc., the authorized agents of Park Livestock, withdrawing the notice of intent to construct application for the park's E8 livestock management facility. As such, the department has closed the aforementioned application file, and your responsibilities pursuant to the Livestock Management Facilities Act are lifted. Thank you for your time," et cetera, and it's signed Doug Owens, Bureau Chief, Environmental Programs. I'd just simply like a motion to put this letter on file, just as just dotting the i's and crossing the t's, making sure that we have done everything that we're supposed to do with the requests and the public. So a motion to approve putting this letter on file, please.
So moved.
Derek moves, John seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next is a resolution for jail closure. I'm going to either table or remove that from the agenda for the following reasons. Since we are still at least going to try to do the following items, which are covered under our current policy that's going into effect December 1st. We are going to do booking. Our jail administrator has come up with plans that effectively make this possible. And since we're technically not going to close the jail except for housing inmates, and their visitation at the jail for whatever reason, whether they're being booked or held for over a few hours for trial, is to be 4 to 5 hours. So, plus if we close the jail, we're grandfathered in on several different items, and there's really no need, according to our attorney, to close the jail. We just operate it within the parameters of what the insurance will provide and what the facility is going to be used for. We can always do that at some point in the future. So that's what I recommend. So we can either table it, or I guess would be the most appropriate thing since it's on the agenda. So motion, Carl moves to table.
Table it for now.
Dan seconds. This is not debatable, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is tabled. Likewise, number 13 needs to be tabled because of the plans of our administrator make that particular point moot. We do not need to rely on Coles County, obviously possibly for housing prisoners from time to time, but no effective agreement for booking is needed. So motion to table?
So just, we didn't approve any other agreements as far as. the
No,
housing and
no,
prisoners
most of those are
counties, right?
handshake or, and we have places to put up to, how many prisoners now, Jay?
We're down to, we ran 4 off this morning, we're gonna run, I think we got 7 left.
Okay, but I mean, the other jails,
We have 12 at Crawford County. Clark will hold all the females, but we don't have any females right now, so, and then Coles County will I think they're gonna have a total of 14, 15, something like that.
Okay.
But we've got agreements, we've talked to all
Yes.
the surrounding
Yes,
counties
everybody's
that they
good
will
with it.
handle our.
Yes,
but
So
we're
our
gonna do
needs
the
are
looking.
capable of being met.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
100%.
Cost the same for each one of them?
No, everyone's a little bit different. I think we've got one at 25, one at 30, 40. I think there's some special needs. For example, if we have mental health needs, they're a little bit more. But that Jay is managing. I suggest if you have a particular question, you might question him about that.
But none of them are $60 like
Yes,
this one.
that's what I was wondering, yeah. Okay, good.
I don't think Coles County, are they still gonna try to charge us 60?
This is the issue I have with Coles County, and as soon as we can get some of these guys out of Crawford, then I'm moving guys out of Coles.
Okay.
But for right now, because Coles said that they would drop it to 45 if they got all of our guys. But why would I send all of our guys there when I can pay 25 to go here and Cumberland will hold for 25? So just to give everybody a heads up,
Right.
we have, I think we're gonna have a total of 10 or 11, 12 that are gonna be at Coles County for $60, because we're not sending all of them there. But as soon as some of our guys start coming out of Crawford, I'm taking guys out of Coles and sending them back. So if we sent everybody to Coles County, you're talking about 30 times 60, 30 times $45, which is somewhere around $1,700 or $1,800 a day. Where I send them so much and I'm only charging, we're only getting like $700 a day. Why keep other guys at other places? So we are playing for two, but at the same time, as soon as guys come out of the lower ones, I'm taking them away. You know, I kinda figured that they would come down to, cause I made them an offer, so why don't you come down to 40? And they were like, nope, we're not gonna do it. You send all of your guys up here and we'll come down to $45. Well, then I started doing the math and I'm thinking, no, I'm still saving money by only sending you a portion and keeping guys here.
Right.
You know, so that's what I've done, and that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but since we're all sitting here, that's where I'm at. So as soon as guys start coming out of Crawford and stuff like that, we're gonna utilize that, so. Yes, sir.
Does the, like 45 or 60 also include medical, because medical can be very expensive?
Medical, all the medical and stuff is gonna stay through us.
Okay.
So I'm taking care of all their meds, I'm taking care of all their doctor's appointments, we'll do transporting to go get them, bring them here for a doctor's appointment, take them back. You know, all that stuff is still staying through me, because I don't wanna get up there and then somebody not get their meds or anything like that, and then we have an issue, and then they turn around and sue us instead of suing Coles County, because technically they're still our inmate. So everything is gonna stay through me, and I will take care of everything. I do have the nurse that I told her that you need you to keep coming in and making sure our meds are updated and everything like that, so, yes. So everything is gonna stay pretty much in my control, so that way I
That
can
brings up
monitor
a-
all the stuff that they're doing.
Good question, and do we calculate that in as
I
far
was
as
asking
that
that.
issue?
That's why I asked you.
What's
I
that?
mean, so the plan that Jay's got in place as far as the medication, which is sound, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I'm just wondering from our budgetary standpoint.
It's not in Fund 100, it is in another fund. We collect,
It is budgeted?
Yeah.
Medical?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, no matter where they're at, we're
Right.
totally responsible for 100% of the medical.
Right, and I don't have a problem with
But
the
it's-
plan, I'm just
it's-
curious if we had thought
Yes,
of that.
yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes. Jay, I assume that you will continue to try to negotiate. I think I understood from your talk we had the other day, I can't remember which day it was, that the sheriff was doing a survey down in Coles County, finding out what some of his larger units were doing, or other jails.
Oh, yes, Jeff had contacted Champaign County.
Yeah.
Obviously Vermillion County's no, because they've got a headache up there in the first place. When we contacted Champaign County, they're wanting $75 to $85.
Champagne was?
But, yes, but at the same point, I can understand what he's looking at, because he's got the University of Illinois, and he's got all that, and he's got the same type of issues you have in Vermillion County.
Right.
With a lot of things going on, a lot of shootings and stuff like that, so for us to bring guys up there and put them in with the individuals there, I mean, I can totally understand where he's coming from too. So, you know, it was just, I just wanted to reach out, because I wanted to, Jeff and I both had talked about reaching out to see some of the bigger counties to see what theirs were, so that we could maybe bargain with Coles County, but simply called Champaign, which is another relatively close, and they're above, so it was like we don't even need to talk to them, so,
Okay,
but yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate your efforts.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you letting me do this.
Motion to table this particular issue then, please.
I'll make that
Carl
motion.
moves.
Second.
Derek seconds. All those in favor of tabling this item for the time being signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, it is tabled. We have two items, 12 and 13 are now tabled. We put officers, department head reports on there. We don't necessarily expect anything, but if you have anything you want to share with us, Don?
End of the fiscal year, we've got a lot of accruing to do. The auditing firm last year offered to do the accruing for me, and the stubborn side of me says, no, I can do it, but you know what? If it doesn't cost anything more, I might have a different attitude this year.
I hope if you do that, though, it would be under your guidance so that
Well,
they
yeah, I
get,
mean, some of it's pretty straightforward, but it takes a lot of time. It
like
takes a
under
lot of-
state receipts and so
Yeah,
forth.
oh, yeah. But it might just be a compromise, we work on it together.
That way they can learn it and you're confident that they know what they're doing. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, they might determine I have no business doing it too, but anyway. Other than that, still got some loose ends going on the tax cycle, but that'll all work itself out in the next week or two. Yes, Dan?
How many delinquent, or?
At the tax sale, we had a record high for my time of being around of 264.
What's the total amount of money that was owed?
No, that it was, I don't know,
Still got that
60,
house on
60,
Wood
70,000.
Still got the house on Wood Street, somebody could buy.
The one that the tree's on,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's got a new owner,
Yeah.
I think that went,
but they didn't pay they didn't have to pay the taxes this year because
Oh.
that is part of the contract agreement with the tax agent.
Did they agree to take the cats?
This is kind of in the weeds, Dan. Okay? Let's,
I just asked.
Yeah,
That's where Dan lives, is in the weeds, you know that, right?
so other than that, unless you guys have any questions.
thank you.
I have
Anything?
nothing. Does the board have any questions for the county highway department?
Ambulance? You got a meeting set up for the 7th? 6th. 6th, 11 o'clock. Okay, Jay, did you have anything else you wanted to mention to us this morning?
No, I'm, just let everybody know that I'm pushing forward. We've talked about, hopefully this renovation thing that we're doing is gonna be relatively quick, and I can get, and we can bring these people back, and we can open the front half of the jail, and my goal is, I know that we talked 3 to 5 months, but my goal is 3, and I'd like to be able to possibly do that, but whether or not that is totally achievable with, being able to hire some people to come back in and be fully staffed so that we can function. But I know a lot of the things were being done. And you guys all know that if it's not in black and white, then for me to say, yeah, we do it, and I can't show you anything on paper showing it's being done, was on some of the biggest issues. And my background, the years that I did this, it's not really hard for me to figure out how to start implementing a lot of that stuff and bringing things back online. I appreciate you guys allowing me to do this. The job that I've been retired since 2012, and I've been kind of just doing odds and ends things and teaching for a little while, but this is my background, and I really enjoyed. I hated to retire when I did, but I had a lot of other things going on at the time, but to come back into doing things that I was pretty good at, and was told by a lot of people above me that I was really good at, and they hated to see me leave and come back and do the things that I'm doing now are beneficial to myself. So I'm striving to put this back in place and get us back up forward and helping you guys all move forward and taking some of this headache away, so.
Thank you, Jay.
As far as what you need from us, moving forward, a couple things that I see or thinking about right now is one, as we turn to on the jail and the projects, have we even thought to, we know we're gonna have to bid things out? Is it one that we're gonna be able to piecemeal it together? How do you foresee that moving forward, and what's your timeframe to start with that?
I'm gonna start Monday, to be honest with you, but a lot of the things that I've fixed already with some of our plumbing issues, the lighting issues, things like that, those are pretty much all done. You know, I had some of the guys come in and we fixed a couple, and we still have a couple. We have one cell that doesn't have any water in it, which we know that the pieces that are in there have already been on order. But when everything was being told that we were gonna close, you know, everybody's kinda like, well, why are we investing all this money into doing this when we're gonna close and we can do that at a later time? So some of those things are, you know, just getting people back in here and put things back in place and we're moving forward. But the biggest thing is just implementing policy and making sure policy's followed.
Absolutely,
which
absolutely, and I
that's-
guess, you know, maybe I should phrase the question this way: is there any project physically within that jail, as far as improvements, that is going to be a major expense, or is it more paint and?
That's pretty
you know,
much the
pieces?
basis of all of it. You know, the front half of the jail, which, you know, I'm kinda with the guys on the board, I really can't understand why. And talking to people that I know in corrections that come down and audit, that I've known for years, they're kind of in the same thought process I was, is, you know, what are they talking about sound? Now, the older section, obviously, we need some renovation up in there, but, you know, the newer section is the place that,
Right,
you know.
and I'm of the position that, you know, if there are things, projects that can be done that put us exactly where we can be, and not some form of stopgap measure or just good enough, that isn't going to be prohibitively expensive, I want to pursue that and get this place to where they walk in and go, damn, this place looks great, you know? So, please don't hesitate if you think there's anything like that, if you need, you know, our input or our, or budget-wise, please let us know about that.
I'll do that.
As far as policies and procedures with, the ones that we currently have in place, policies, any written documents, as you've gone through those, or if you've had a chance to go through those, any holes you see there? I mean, there was an option for a rewrite from, I mean, anything that you think? we
I
can
have
do?
brought in a whole new set of policies.
Okay,
So I've, nothing against what policies were there, I've just brought in a whole new set, that pretty much are extenuations of corrections from the Department of Corrections. So, you know, once we can get that back into place and start going forward with those, you know, I've broken down all the different things that we've got. I've got, basically a lot of things that I've got up there now all in black and white, so that, you know, the biggest issues of making sure staff sign off on policies and how policies work and what things are going like that. But I've pretty much implemented and bringing in, and once we close and get ready to start going forward, a whole brand new set of policies and procedures are going to be in place. So everything that was in the past is, not that there wasn't anything there, but it's just easier to start. If we're gonna start new, let's just start brand new, period. So I've brought in all brand new policies and procedures, and that's what we're gonna go with.
sure.
And which is what the insurance company wants, is basically what I've adapted to theirs. And when I started reading their policies and then reading policies from corrections, all they did was take the policies from corrections and put their name across the top of it, and that's basically all they did. Which, when I start reading through them, are the same policies that I had when I was at Danville and the other correctional center I worked at also. So all they've done is just taken these things here, the guidelines, and put their names on top of it. So the biggest issue for me is I can appease corrections by using the policies that are in place from the insurance company. And right now, our biggest issue is to appease the insurance company and make them come back into our hand with us and go forward from there. So
Right.
after talking to my friend that is the director of jails and detention centers, I've known him for a while. The lady that will come and do the audit, her husband and I work together at Menard, so we have a background there. So when I talked to her, you know, she started talking to me about their policies, and I started talking about these, and she said they're all the same. So the biggest thing that I'm worried about right now is appeasing the insurance company first.
Sure.
But I know at the same time, when I'm doing that with them, I'm also doing the same thing with corrections, so.
Okay.
Is everybody working with you pretty well?
Yes, sir, everybody is. Yep, Jeff is very accommodating, very helpful. Jeff's kinda, you know, just keep me in the loop, which is what I do every day. You know, at the end of the day, if we've done anything, this is what I've done today. And Jeff's pretty much just kinda stepped back and said, you take care of this and going forward from there. Yes, sir, Jeff?
No, I just
Okay.
was, oh, nothing right now. Okay. Everybody, on board with everything there? All right. Thank you again, Jay. Welcome aboard. Angie?
I have nothing today.
Tom?
Questions for me?
Oh, sorry. Questions for Angie? Tom?
I couldn't make the last meeting because we were doing some training on a new system, so I will take a moment of your time. Our new fuel systems, both of them are operational. We are using them daily. The old systems were removed last week. And this past Monday, we poured concrete on the last portion that needed poured, and that was where the old fuel system was. So we've made 100% conversion at this moment.
Any questions of Tom?
Just a quick one and minor detail. But between that construction project and the one we're hoping to do next year, there was talk about trying to leave rock in place to, you know,